love it. You know, I love meeting people. I love hearing people's stories because as a pharmacist, we care. We want to help. We want to cure. We want to make sure that the patients are safe. So we have a triangle between the patient, the provider, and us. So what we do is we can kind of help you register. We can help the doctor understand more about this. We can talk to family members that are absolutely opposed that don't understand it. My parents, they're like, you're going to put these kids on marijuana? How are they going to smoke it? They didn't know that it's going to be oil. My dad's 80 years old, and it was eye-opening because he saw firsthand what this plant can do to change someone's life. Because my son was going to die. It was a matter of time. And this saved his life. Optimizing outcomes. We have over 500 patients that we look after right now. And they just call us for questions, and we kind of funnel over to the doctor's offices. And we can get recommendations of what we think, and so the doctor determines whether they want to implement it or not. And drug interaction monitoring. It's not being done. The pharmacies that are collecting the data when they pick it up, I go there to pick up the medicine. They never ask me if anything changed. I mean, luckily I know what I'm doing with this, but how many patients don't? And they could be started on an antibiotic that we know has been drug interactions associated with it. And it's not being asked. So this is the other hard part for the pharmacy. I talked to a law professors at the pharmacy schools and the board of pharmacy. They want pharmacists there because they feel we know medicine. That's the course, so we're supposed to know more about it, but really inadequate. You're supposed to act like a pharmacist, but not be a pharmacist because you're in a Schedule I situation when you're dealing with this product. So you're kind of caught between being a pharmacist and means you're going to follow law from Schedule II, Schedule V, plus non-controlled. Schedule Is are considered taboo, but the state's mandating you to be there. So what we can do is check for drug interaction monitoring. It doesn't happen. This is a picture of my children's medicine. So 3 to 6 per 15 means 3 milligrams of THC to 6 milligrams of CBD per 15 milliliters. So the first 2 months, it was consistent. Then it went 4 to 7, 3 to 7, 3 to 6, 3 to 6, 4 to 8, 3 to 7, 3 to 7. How do you dose this if you're dealing with, say, 7 milligrams? So you don't do 15 mils there, but now it's up to 6, so now you have to give more because the concentration is less. Then it goes to 8, so you have to give less than the 15 because the concentration went up. And you can only adjust one of them, so you're going to either give more or less of the THC. They're not consistent. This is all the companies, not just Bloomfield right up this. So, in conclusion, our journey is continuing, but it's a promising future because there's something that can help. My daughter Taylor, Maya, Hayden, this was when I was told he's going to die. We gave last rites, put him in hospice, we had to sign the DNR, DNI, and they said if he goes, we're not going to make him suffer anymore. After being hospitalized every month, five months straight. The doctor said, this is inhumane to keep him this way. This is now. This is Maya now. This is Taylor. Maya is walking with assistance. She was wheelchair bound. Hold her hands, she move her feet. She can make small words. My daughter has stopped having the 200 to 300 pound chronic. She has 1 a month now. My son was in a constant state of seizure. Never was not seizing. He's now at the point, I haven't done a repeat EG on him. We're lucky to be doing that shortly. He smiles, he talks. He's like a 9-year-old newborn. It's like I am now getting to know him after all these years. You go from that to that. He's off oxygen. He's off $10,000 worth of pharmaceutics. So, anecdotal story, there are tons of them across the country, just like this. So, any questions?
Yes, I have one.
Yes.
So specifically, when you say can't get it through mail order or anything like that, would that include sources that specifically sell CBD extracts?
This is where it gets a little bit tricky. If you look at the DEA, it says any cannabis product or derivative from the cannabis plant is considered a Schedule I. The Farm Bill of 2012 or 2014 states that industrial hemp, if it's less than 0.3% THC, is not considered illegal, and you can ship without 50. So it depends on what you look at. From a federal level, you could be arrested for that if the federal agents come on in. But the state and the other agency will say, well, no, it's under 0.3% THC. It's hemp. Hemp basically means it's non-psychoactive. It's used as a textile for ropes, clothing. They just press it and get the oil out, which gives you CBD. And THC is less than 0.3%. So is it legal? Is it legal? That's depending on interpretation. The Department of Agriculture says it's legal. The DEA will say it's illegal. So I know there's several companies, Haley Soap, Charles Webb, Palmetto Harmony, that produce the product. You can get it from all 50 states on the internet, and it'll ship door to door because it is less than 0.2% THC.
You get it on Hurdle Avenue.
Company that.
A little something else I wanted to mention. Anyone else who has any legal questions, we will have a lawyer come up and speak at the moment. I'd ask you legal questions be held to the lawyer.
And this drug too, is it your fluorogenic, the cannabidiol?
I'm sorry?
Is the drug that you're speaking of that your children have taken, is that a fluorogenic drug?
They get a 1 to 2. So there is some THC in it, but even with 6 milligrams of THC per day, it's very active, very alert. When you put them in conjunction together, the CBD kind of nullifies the effect of the THC, and they're not stoned. They don't have glassy eyes. I mean, it allows his brain to kind of calm down. But he's not, he does not glass. He doesn't look, like he's knocked out. He doesn't sleep after because of it. It's controlling his seizures.
But as far as the people in government, that's enough to say.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's because of the THC. I mean, it all depends on your dose. You can take 1 milligram of THC or 50 milligrams of THC. You're going to get 2 different results out of it. But controlled with your doctor, you're doing this for medical reasons. It's no different than putting them on, having Onfi, which I call it a zombie maker because it literally makes their face, they're zombies. There's nothing there. And it's not right. Yeah.
What's the average length of time where a drug is studied and then FDA approved?
Can be years, but they also can fast track it with extra money. So if they pay extra money to the FDA, they can bring it to the market faster. But it has to go through 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and then finally when it gets to the phase 3 trial, if they're showing benefit and it's really, could benefit patients, they'll bring it to the market a lot faster. But money. So I mean, it costs several billions of dollars for a company to actually bring FDA drugs to the market. They get exclusivity for 7 or 9 years, where nobody can make anything at that time. And these drugs can't. Yeah. And there's a drug, hepatitis, that treats hepatitis, $100,000. And they're going for it because that's the only thing on the market.
Well, it's funny that the pharmaceuticals haven't glommed onto this because it is such a money maker. They could rebuild it. And then we'll get it covered by insurance and it'll all be good.
Real quick, before we start.
It doesn't pay them to research a plan
Right.
that they can't
But
patent.
you're,
They can't patent the plant.
They can't patent.
They can't patent the plant.
oh, okay.
So that's
It's an actual
Well, what about
There was a,
medication that comes-
They can patent
the
it.
capsule, which is the bark of the tree. The little
what's the difference between that and,
plant has thousands of different species. Which one? Because their chemistry, those cannabinoids, those building blocks, are going to be different in one plant versus the next versus the next. And then you can hybridize them, where you get indica plant, the sativa plant, mix them together, and then you have a hybrid of one that gives you, high THC and high CBD, or low, or any type of combination, in between.
or else they would have shown.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, when you go to the dispensary then, basically what you're saying is it's a crapshoot. You gotta ask for the product and hope it works. And if that one doesn't work, get a different product next time?
Yes, well, it should be the same one, because I go to Bloomfield, they have a syrup, they have an elixir, and I think they have a third one they just came out with. But it's a 1 to 2 syrup, and a 1 to 2-ish tincture, and the milligrams are different in both those two. And they won't tell you what's in it. So I went to the DOH and I said, if my seizures, my children are getting worse, I don't know if their condition is getting worse or if the product is producing. So I was finally able to get something called an HPLC, which is the chemical breakdown of it. there was a 60% reduction from month to month, and it was up and down and up and down. Depends how they extract it. And they legally don't have to tell you unless it's greater than 0.1% that on the bottle.
A little footnote, any more questions about dispensaries? We will also have a dispensary rep who can take those questions in a moment, so. Yes.
Okay, now, next step they're looking at is putting him on the medical marijuana. And that's so we're going to be beginning the registration process and everything. My question is the transition from the drugs that he's on now to the medical marijuana. Now, do they completely take them off the medication?
No,
or
not.
do they take them off slowly and slowly add the medical marijuana to this?
It depends what anticonvulsants are on, because it is metabolized in the liver, and some medications do metabolize in the liver as well. You want to see which ones are going to be the major interacting ones and ones that are going to be kind of minor. So we kind of know the pathways where it goes, and again, doctors aren't quite up to speed with the pharmacology of how it works. That's where the pharmacists kind of come in. They won't take them off and then just put them on it, because that's dangerous.
Okay, so they will combine the two.
Oh yeah,
until
my kids
they-
are still on pharmaceutics because I can't get a consistent batch every month to even try to reduce. My son I was able to, because I just said, okay, I don't need this drug anymore. I didn't touch their anticonvulsants. I went to all the supplemental drugs that were needed because of all those pharmaceutics. But they're on less drugs, and I can slowly move things down. But I want to get at least a 3-month period where I have very good seizure control. And that's the hard part, because their companies aren't standardized with what they produce every month. And that's kind of a failure of the dispensing facilities, because they should really be doing it.
And that's very important for kids, especially the dosing and the changing and dosing. But now as we're going towards chronic pain and adult use and so forth, we're hoping that substantial change, and the titration is going to be not so important.
Yeah, the hard part with pain is,
It's
we're hoping that
individualized to the patient,
yeah,
really.
it's customized to the patient. And if they can speak, they can say, oh, this was too much, I'm going to take a little less dose. Or, hey, this is enough, I'm going to just bump it up a bit. With kids, a lot of them are nonverbal, a lot of them are wheelchair bound. You just kind of look at symptoms and see how they're responding. And, looking, if they're at home or in a facility, they're looking at them to see how it's working and how it isn't working.
This is the same problem that any physician deals with when trying to deal with a nonverbal patient. That is part of going through that process. I want to take one more
I just have
question
to
here,
ask
and then
you
I'd like to...
about that. If you were in a state that had recreational as well as medicinal, could you take it upon yourself to find your own
Yes, you can.
Yeah,
The difference.
so
Theoretically,
if
yes.
you were literally in this other recreational state, and your kid is not working with this such and such, you could just go and buy the next step for yourself on your own.
But recreational is only for adults. If you're an adult and you give it to your kids, you're breaking the law.
Right. Yeah. The other thing is, if they're doing recreational, they don't have to follow the same standardization month after month.
But places that have so many more options, there's so much more product out there.
Exactly. Yes.
So you're not really having where we're like, oh, I'm going to go to Syracuse and they're out of the stuff. There might be another place around the corner at this other.
In Washington, D.C., you can grow up to 6 plants per patient per household. And my brother's now, he's a law enforcement agent at the Pentagon. It's ridiculous. People come out of the Senate and they just walk right over and they can go to these farms. They're everywhere, and they can grow their own plants. This is our capital, the country. So there's definitely a disparity between states, and it's not fair that cancer doesn't discriminate, epilepsy, pain doesn't discriminate what state you're in. Every American, every person should have equal access to a medicine that could potentially bring benefit. Okay, thanks, everyone.
Thank you.